This is me, Hudson George. Well, my topic this evening is Donald Trump destroy Ronald Reagan brand of Ronald Reagan policies on Caribbean immigration. Now, Ronald Reagan stopped the spread of communism in the American backyard. Because before Ronald Reagan came to power, we had President Carter. And President Carter was too much a humanist and too intelligent, and also was not too hard on passing executive orders. He was a humanist than more than a tough American president. So during President Carter term in office, there were guerrilla wars, left-wing guerrillas war in El Salvador, Nicaragua, Colombia, and all those places. There was also uprising in Guatemala, Honduras, working class struggle, and so. Whilst in Venezuela, everything was nice with the American. There were no left-wing politics threatening the American interests. So it so happened that in Grenada, the Grenadian people overthrew our government, Grenada. And the leaders of the group that overthrew the Grenadian government, they went to Cuba. And the leaders were young and they were militant, they were anti-imperialist. So Fidel Castro and Cuba get the first opportunity to spread their revolution in the Southern Caribbean. Because in the past, Cherry Jagan maybe had that ambition in Guyana, but he didn't succeed. Right? You had other militant leaders in the Caribbean islands, trade unionists and so, but they didn't go that far. But Cherry Jagan's wife, Janet Rosenberg Reagan, she was a Marxist-Leninist. The question is, was Cherry Jagan a Marxist or he was influenced by his wife? But religiously, he was a Hindu. So I don't know. You know? So anyway, with Ronald Reagan coming to power, because the Republican Party saw Jimmy Carter as too soft on communism. Revolution was ripe all over the world. Around that time, just before that, to Reagan in power, Deng Xiaoping in China came to power. And it is said that Deng Xiaoping and Mao Zedong, they were both revolutionaries with a different brand of communism. Mao Zedong was the Cultural Revolution. Deng Xiaoping had a different type of communism. And it is said that Mao didn't execute Deng, he banished Deng in the countryside, Deng Xiaoping. But after the death of Mao in communist government or communist party, changes doesn't come easy, come in violence. So the Ding faction took over from the Mao faction and they lock up Mao and his wife. I think they call them the Gang of what? Gang of 9 or the Gang of 10, I can't really remember. But they nailed them a gang. Mao wife ended up in jail. So the communism in China going to our next group. So Reagan happened to invade Grenada after the hot-headed, inexperienced Grenadian so-called anti-imperialists. They wanted to create a Marxist state, but somehow they fought among themselves for power. And we don't know why they fight, and they're not confessing, everybody's saying something different. So I don't want to go into that now. But anyway, when Reagan came to power, he was talking about in his campaign it was against Nicaragua, El Salvador, and Grenada. Somehow, the revolutionaries in Grenada fight for power. And Reagan get his opportunity to come in when he became president of the United States. So with the assassination or the execution of the leader of the Grenada Revolution by his deputy and the fraction, Reagan seized the opportunity and he came in to Grenada. But Reagan's policy towards the Caribbean was kind of different. So in order for Reagan to dismantle the socialist movement or the anti-imperialist movement in Grenada, he set up an embassy in the south of the island and he gave all of them visa. Go in America. All educated people come, you get indefinitely multiple visa. You go for 10 years, you get 15, 20 years. So he create brain drain. And those was not too educated, the youths, they get visa, they go to America. So even though Reagan was anti-communist, he was not anti-immigrant, right? Even though he was right-wing. So Reagan knew that in his time, a lot of illegal aliens come to the United States. And he gave visa to lots of educated people from the Caribbean. So you go and try your luck in America. You could get credit card, you get jammed. Nobody check on you, only if you commit a big crime. So this was Reagan's brand of policy towards creating any disturbance in the Caribbean with young people. So Grenada was the example. And under Reagan period, Haitians was going to America too. And other Caribbean people were going. You could live there undocumented, but you work and you make money. You don't break the law under Reagan, you survive until you get your document. And also, in 1983 or 84, I think it was 83 or 84, Reagan passed amnesty to illegal aliens. A lot of Caribbean and other illegal aliens, they get documented under Reagan. So Reagan policy was different. Reagan was anti-communist, but his policy towards immigrants and non-white people were different. Now, during Reagan 2 terms in office, the Soviet Union was disintegrated. Reagan succeeded that too. So communism dead in Grenada. When he reached Grenada, that dead. The Soviet Union dismantled. Fidel Castro said revolution or death. He saved his pride. But he was lucky. He was a friend of Canada. And also I think Italy helped him too. Remember, Cuba is a white country. Cuba is not a black country. Cuba have black people. But the majority of people in Cuba is white people. Cubans are not like the Latinos of the other countries that mix up Métis and so. The majority of them are white. Plus, there could be about 80,000 Russians and people of Russian descent in Haiti, in Cuba, over the years with the Soviet Union in Cuba. About 80,000 people of Russian descent in Cuba. So anyway, fast forward. So when Reagan got rid of the Soviet Union, the Berlin Wall came down. Reagan became complacent too, or naive. He really thought that Deng Xiaoping was no more communist. Because Deng communist was different from Mao communist. It's just as if Bernard Code had succeeded Maurice Bishop. Maybe communist was different from Maurice Bishop communist. Yeah, communism is like religion, It all depends on the leader. Communism in Yugoslavia was different than in the Soviet bloc. The North Korean are the brand of communism. The Vietnamese have their own type. In Laos, they have their own type. In Cambodia, they have their own type of communism too. So anyway, Reagan came up with free trade. Like for anything, Coca-Cola went to, to China. They signed trade deal, free trade in China, Mexico, and Canada. I witnessed in Canada, all the companies leave Canada and go to China. I remember the first company that left Canada was one called Inglis. Then Gillette went, and then all the companies gone. Canada become a service industry. A lot of people end up on welfare. Even me myself, I end up with a job too. But during that time, I was going to college. So Reagan died, believe he had get rid of communism until Tiananmen Square came. And when the students rebel in China and Deng Xiaoping crushed them. And then the American realized China was still had a communist party with a different policies of communism, a capitalist uh, economy, but a communist party. So after Reagan time, China started expansionism all over the world, doing business with people. So China spread the rings and reached all the point. Even in countries that was friendly to Reagan. Right? They go to China they make deal with China. All over Africa, all about. So now we have a switch from Reagan now to Donald Trump. Donald Trump brand of capitalism now is to make America great. So capitalism, right-wing capitalism, is to squeeze a weak nation to get what you want. Whilst Reagan was using free trade to get it. That's the difference. So Donald Trump destroyed Reagan brand of global capitalism. Because China became a power from or due to Reaganomics. You see? So the way the world is going now, I was listening to the new Canadian Prime Minister Kerry. And before I go into Kerry, I could say I had the experience myself because I was working as a security guard at Canadian Immigration Holding Center during the time when you had the Tenement Square Act. And we used to go on the airport as guards, immigration guard for the holding center to bring young Chinese who run away from China to Canada and they get refugee, right? And around that time, there was a rush of refugee coming from Somalia. Siad Barry was being dethroned too around that time. Well, anyway, I don't want to go into the Siad Barry thing too much. I'm sticking to China. Also, there was a transfer somewhere around that area. I think Reagan had already. I wonder if Reagan around that period of time between the Reagan Mulroney time in Canada and Reagan in America, the Britain had to sign over Hong Kong to China. So the Canadian government take all the wealthy Chinese from Hong Kong. But they were not coming like refugees like mainland Chinese with the Tenement Square. And this is how the city of Markham in Ontario was built with them rich Chinese from Hong Kong. So to fast forward now, Donald Trump, brand of right-wing capitalism, we don't know how we're going to end up. Because with the Reaganomics, and Reagan destroyed the Soviet Union. And then when President Clinton came, he bombed up Yugoslavia, who had a different brand of communism that survived the Soviet Union. Bill Clinton make sure he destroyed. So Europe had no communist again. Right? But China rise. China rise. So Reagan policy now, Trump policy now perhaps is most likely is because of the rise of China. So what will happen now? We have to wait for the next 20 years or so, 30 years to know what will be the outcome of Donald Trump brand of right-wing capitalism. Because he even sanctioned on Canada, whilst Reagan signed free trade in Canada. But Reagan free trade in Canada took away all the companies from Canada and gone to China. And then Brian Mulroney, who was a very good conservative prime minister, had no other option but to sign the free trade deal. And his second term ended up in a disarray. But I will always say the first 40 years I living in Canada, the happiest time in my life in Canada was the first 5 year term of Brian Mulroney. So 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 we have to look at how the politics is. So we don't know what is going to happen with Donald Trump brand of right wing capitalism because China rose from Reagan brand of capitalism. Question is, which or whatever country will rise from Donald Trump brand of capitalism? Is it Brazil will rise? I'm not talking about the Arab world. Yeah, the Arab world, they're not ready for that change yet. Right? So is it Brazil what will rise? Venezuela under sanction. The country I could say maybe Brazil, Nigeria. I don't know. Nigeria could have potential as a black country. I don't know. South Africa. I don't know. Or will China come? Will take over the world? Because with Donald Trump policy towards the Caribbean, we don't know if he his next policy will say he will prevent Caribbean immigrants or immigrants globally who living in America from other countries living in America, if he will stop them from sending remittance to the country. Because the two countries that collect the most remittance in the world is India and China. Will Donald Trump go after that? Will he go after remittances in the Caribbean, Africa, wherever? You understand? So when there is a world crisis, somebody is going to rise. So it's either China become stronger or somebody else come forward. So Donald Trump policy has destroyed or is destroying Ronald Reagan brand of capitalism. He's destroying it. So it is time to tell what will happen in years to come with Donald Trump brand of capitalism. Nobody knows. We just have to watch and see. Because I hear Caribbean countries saying about plant food. No country can survive by just planting food to eat. Because if planting food to eat, natural food to eat, could build a country. Dominica will be the richest country in the Leeward and Windward Island. Because Dominica have the most land in the Leeward and Windward Island to plant food. And Dominicans are living in droves to go to Antigua, St. Martin, and St. Kitts and St. Croix all over to find jobs. So when I hear Caribbean leaders saying back to the Sahel, I don't think that could work. Because Bill Clinton have already destroyed the market for Caribbean products on the international market. The same food stuff could grow in the Caribbean islands, could grow in Central and South America. It's not only banana, papaya, mango, pineapples, all different tomatoes. You could grow it only in South and Central America for cheap labor. so, so it is only time to tell the effect of Donald Trump policy on immigration in the Caribbean and trade. But with what Donald Trump did now, even though Reagan was right wing, a lot of Caribbean immigrants benefit from Reaganomics. Some of them are able to work, make enough money, come back home, big house, get education, educate the children, who neutralize themselves in the United States, you know. So what is going to happen? Anyway, let us wait and see. This is me, Hudson George. This is me, Hudson George. I gone till I come again.